Hey everybody, welcome back to the awesome Pitching Ninja show. I have to say it because I am Pitching Ninja. Before we get into this, do me a favor, do Will a favor, hit subscribe. It actually is good karma for the rest of your week, so subscribe. And without further ado, here is the man, the myth, the legend, the Will Lady.
Sick, Ninja. Incredible weekend. Baseball weekend, not for the Red Sox though. Just an absolutely awful defensive game played behind Chris Sale. Another great Chris Sale outing. They had a 7-1 lead in a game that they really need and butchered it. I'm actually going to Fenway for the first time in about a decade on Wednesday. Was really psyched to start off this series strong, and they blew it hard. But Sale, Ninja.
Sale made a fantastic play after getting dinked to death. He was like, I got this one. And, for a lefty to make that play, that's pretty tough because most, you say most pitchers were shortstops in youth baseball and high school. Probably wasn't a shortstop.
So Ninja, on a long Labor Day weekend where there were a ton of shakeups in the Cy Young race we had just spoken about last week. First, we had the Giants versus Dodgers, epic series of the season, one in which Walker Buehler ended up having one of his worst starts. Following that right up with Max Scherzer having one of his insane starts of the season. So, and then we had, Woodruff versus Wheeler. Tons of stuff happened this weekend. Let's talk about it a little bit, Ninja.
Yeah, well, I've been going back and forth on who should win the Cy Young Award. So much so that I've actually kind of called it out several times. Like, I think last show I mentioned Buehler should win the Cy Young. Then I just did a video, a little YouTube short this week saying Corbin Burns should probably win the Cy Young because he's filthy and all that. And then I'm watching Max Scherzer yesterday going, if that dude isn't the Cy Young, I don't know who is. I mean, he's got the lowest ERA, the best whip, pitching like a beast. I don't know. I think I'm going to keep going back and forth for the entire year probably, but you got to consider Scherzer at this point, right?
Yeah, he's incredible. I mean, since he came to the Dodgers, I think they're 7-0. He's 5-0. He's got just over an ERA of 1. He's leading the majors now in ERA, just like that. As you alluded to, he's leading in whip, batting average against, all these things. And then also it's Max, so I have faith that he's going to probably bring him back and win the division, which is what he came over for. But then, I love the big blonde hairy animal, Corbin Burns. And you've alluded to multiple times recently how just beautiful he is to watch. Not looks wise. I mean, his pitching, his backdoor cutter, his front door two-seamer, those types of things. And, so I'm a big fan of him, but then, if DeGrom comes back and he pitches more than 20 innings, then I just have to give it to him. So it's really a toss-up, the NL over here. What do you think, Ninja?
I don't think DeGrom is going to get it. I think DeGrom's he is the best pitcher in baseball, no doubt. Like if he steps on a field, he should get it because he's the best pitcher in baseball, but he's not going to. Corbin Burns, his stuff looks like a Cy Young Award winner, no doubt, just fantastic. But Max is Max. You're right. He's a force of nature. And the other thing with Max that I don't think people get, he pitches to the score a lot. Like if they have a big lead, he tries different things. It's one reason why you can't judge a guy by any one stat. Like he said, I have a big lead. If I give up a solo homer, really don't care. I want to see how my stuff plays and try different sequencing and stuff. So he's like very much an old school type pitcher that you just have to, you kind of look at his body of work, and his body of work right now with, over 200 strikeouts, leading the league, I believe in both whip and ERA. He also when he's in a pennant race, he lifts his game. Like there's no doubt that dude is a competitor, and this is what he lives for. He wants another World Series. Are you going to tell Max he can't win a Cy Young Award? I'm not going to tell Max he can't win a Cy Young Award. The dude won't even hug me.
Well, you know what? This would be his fourth Cy Young, which would put him into even more elite company than he's already in. But let's keep it going. Let's keep the Cy Young talk going, because if there's one thing we like to talk about on the Pitching Ninja show, it's pitching. So let's go over to AL a little bit, because Robbie Ray just had his 4th consecutive 10K game, and now he is snuck all the way up to being right at the top of where he should be in the Cy Young race. I mean, I think it's really between him and Cole now. Lance Lynn and even Carlos Rodon are both having magnificent seasons. They're both now at the point where they're a little short on innings, but could both very well make a push. So who are you thinking there, Ninja?
I mean, I love both Rodon and Lynn. I mean, they're two of my favorite pitchers to watch. Just great dudes. It's between Cole and Ray right now. I had, again, I like jumping the gun apparently, because after Cole's 15K outing, I said, that's his Cy Young signature performance. He's a horse and he's got nasty stuff. He just looks like the Cy Young Award winner. That being said, Ray is shoving. Camera angles don't do him justice. They don't do any lefty justice, other than maybe like Sale, I think they do. But most lefties get hosed by the offset camera angle. So it's hard for me to tweak them because it just doesn't look as nasty. But Ray shoves, and he doesn't trick anybody. He's got a slider that's filthy and a fastball that just shoves. So I don't know, man. I think it's close.
So now, Ninja, talk about a little hitting. First, we're going to start with Frank the Tank Schwindel. This guy is just playing out of his absolute mind. He has an unbelievable story. He finally got called up for good, and he blasts this ball. I thought it was going out at Wrigley. So did this guy. Bounced off the scoreboard, and unfortunately, this guy took it off the skull. But Schwindel doesn't care. He ended up having the walk-off hit in this game. The next game, he had a grand slam. And the following game, he had another huge hit. I mean, this guy is incredible. Next, we're going on to the obligatory Albert Pujols dong, 678. What more can you say? I mean, 22 more and he's at 700. He's the greatest ever, Ninja.
I love Albert.
But on to the long dong of the week. This one is going to the human kegerator, Daniel Vogelbach, for, Ninja, I know when you were a little boy, you were probably envisioning striking the guy out in the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs, but Vogelbach comes up, down 3 in the bottom of the ninth, pinch hitter, and what's he do? Yeah, he jacks a granny. Just, you can't draw it up any better than this, Ninja. And for that, Vogelbach's got the long dong of the week.
I love watching that guy hit. It's just because it's like beer league softball, dude. Just hits bombs. I mean, I like it. I appreciate hitting. Don't get me wrong. Come on, man.
And now, PitchingNinja's top 10 filthiest pitchers of the week.
At number 10, we have Garrett Cole's fastball slider overlay. This is a 98-mile-an-hour fastball and a 90-mile-an-hour slider. Pure filth when combined. I mean, you can see them. They track exactly, and then that slider veers off. See why hitting Cole is so tough. At number 9, I have Alek Manoah and his overlay, a slider that is breaking 20 inches glove side. And then you have a sinker or two-seamer that is breaking 20 inches arm side. And if you put them together, it almost looks like it's going to create a tornado. At number 8, we have Logan Webb's changeup and sinker overlay. Again, I don't know that either one of these pitches would stand out to anybody watching the game, but when you overlay it, it actually made me go, whoa. You see these pitches track with a 7-mile-an-hour difference and the entire way to the plate. How do you hit this? In fact, Logan Webb was asked about this overlay in the post-game interview, and he has been working on his changeup, said he tries to focus on it being exactly the same as his sinker, and my God, did he succeed here. At number 7, we have Tanner Halp with, he is one of my favorite guys to watch. His slider is pure filth. He gets a ton of horizontal break. How much horizontal break does he get? Well, I believe this was 17 inches thrown straight at Chang's hip. And you see just total bowel locking stuff. At number 6, we have Marcus Stroman's split changeup. Anytime you can see a guy's soul escape from his body because he swung at it thinking it was a sinker, this pitch is going to make the top 10. At number 5, we have, again, this is the second week in a row, but this guy just boggles my mind. Matt Brash, Mariners minor leaguer, channeling Kerry Wood. I don't use a Kerry Wood analogy with any degree of lightness, he looks like Kerry Wood. This guy's stuff is absolutely disgusting. Like, it is cartoon-like. So Matt Brash, he needs to be called up to the major leagues because that guy can get anybody out. I mean, this stuff is just disgusting.
And you know what else is disgusting, Ninja? Whatever camera the Mariners supplied to this poor minor league team of theirs.
I believe he shot that with a potato. At number 4, Shohei Ohtani. We're just talking pure gas. 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, blowing it by folks. He let some runners on base, had folks in scoring position. That man does not like to lose, and you see it here. Just absolute flames. Makes it at number 4. At number 3, this is sick. We have Corbin Burns' cutter and two-seamer, a 99-mile-an-hour two-seamer and a 97-mile-an-hour cutter. And they both start out at the same place, and they end up going in absolutely opposite directions. I don't know how anybody hits this, and Goldie sure didn't. And you're talking about Goldschmidt. I mean, this is a great hitter. You're hopeless. We have Aaron Ashby at number 2. Aaron Ashby threw a total demon two-seamer. This thing just dives to the dirt at 97 miles an hour. I overlay it with his slider, and I give up. I mean, I don't know what you do here. This is not hittable by humans. Aaron Ashby, being a rookie, got a long career ahead of him. Number 2 this week. And at number 1, we have Tyler Rogers and his UFO slider. I need a nickname for it, but this is disgusting. I mean, his slider, and this is true, his slider rises more than his fastball rises. Hitters cannot keep up with this. Like, you're not used to seeing a slider that rises. And the reason it rises is because of his arm slot. So instead of the spin like a normal slider would dive, his spin, because of his arm slot and because he is tilted, causes the pitch to actually rise legitimately based on its spin. And then he's throwing it upward because he releases the ball about 1.2 feet from the ground. So he's thrown in an upward trajectory, and the pitch is fighting gravity more than his fastball by about 10 or 11 inches. So it is legit witchcraft. And he happens to be my guest this week. I was lucky enough to interview Tyler Rogers, and we talk about this pitch. How did you develop your pitching style?
Man, over a couple of years, or long years, I guess, 10 years or so. But I guess we'll go back to is my freshman year of junior college. I was conventional pitcher, I guess you could call it, just over the top, kind of like 86, 88, nice and straight. And my coach approached me one day. He's like, hey, what do you think about maybe dropping down and throwing sidearm? And I was like, you know what? I don't hate the idea. Let's give it a shot. And first day I did it, felt pretty natural. It was nowhere near as low as I am today. It probably felt like it back then, but it was, sidearm back then. And, I just kept toying with things, kept trying to figure things out, trying new things. And, once I got into pro ball, I ended up seeing a picture of my release point, and I was like, I asked my pitching coach, I was like, am I that low? And he goes, yeah. I was like, I don't feel that low in my mind. I still feel like I'm throwing, sidearm in my mind, but yeah, it's really evolved, and it's still evolving. And the uniqueness kind of found me, to be honest with you.
You throw one of the most unique pitches in baseball, and I think most of the time it's on purpose. It's that rising slider thing. And when did you realize that was a pitch? Do you have a name for it, for one? And when did you realize that was going to be as effective as it is?
Well, the name I have for it, I guess, is the riser that you coined, and then the other one is the basement door, which my brother likes to use. But no, how it started is through the minor leagues and through college. Being a sinker slider guy, you want ground balls on both pitches, and it was always a struggle for me to get my slider to go down. And it's funny looking back at it that I fought the slider going up so much, because all you're always told, don't leave sliders up. So I was always fighting it. And I got this Andrew Bailey, I got to spring training in 2020, our new pitching coach at the time. He goes, hey, when you throw sliders up in the zone, the slugging isn't really high. He's like, do you try to do that? And I was like, actually, no, I don't want to do that. just aesthetically it doesn't look right. And he goes, let's try and throw it up there this spring and see what happens. And and then I just kind of embraced it from there and just let it do its thing.
Is there anybody that you've emulated anything from? Like, do you look at a pitcher either currently or in the past and say, oh, that guy does something I want to do or I can do, or is it just totally your own person?
No, it's really only just mine. I've never really tried to emulate anybody. I honestly, it was a lot of it was me and my brother just playing catch, him catching me and trying different things. And, I'd have my hands up here and he's like, no, let's try him at the belt today. And we'll go from there. And just little things like that, trial and error. And that's what it was really cool about having a twin brother is all those days in the backyard playing catch, throwing. We're 30 years old and we're still doing that. And so it's been great.
You guys seem like you have a really great relationship. I mean, I've watched some of your interviews where you'll talk about the other, and like, has it always been that way? Has there ever been any competitiveness, or are you always helping each other?
It's always been a straight supportive, happy for the other one kind of relationship. Never really a jealousy thing, I'd say. We'd have our little spats, we'd get in the fight playing basketball in the driveway or whatever. But 5 minutes later, we're like, hey, you want to throw the ball? Like, yeah, let's go. So just little things like that. But it's always just so happy and supportive for Taylor, because we know the work we've each put in. You see everything. And I've eaten the same meals he has. I've lifted the same weights he has. He throws 97, but I'm not going to be mad at that. I'm a normal two-seam guy with just the thumb right underneath, I guess, maybe a little bit on the side, but that's kind of my bread and butter.
And what does the rotation feel like out of your hand? What does that look like to you?
Okay, so sorry, I got to backtrack just a touch.
Okay.
So when I first step on the mound and I start warming up, or I'm throwing a flat ground pregame or whatever the case may be, my first few submarine throws of the day, I always start with a 4-seam grip. And I want the ball, and in my head, I want the ball to spin perfectly on an axis just like this out of my hand. And then same thing with the slider. I just want it to spin the other way on this axis, just like this. Now, it's not like that at all, but that's what I think about. And then I go to the 2-seam grip once I get into the game and just kind of let it take over. But I never think about arm slot or release point. It's all about how I'm spinning the ball is all I think about.
And it's purely that side spin that you're going for, and the seams you're letting do the work on the pitch.
Essentially, yeah. And then the slider grip. So on Major League Baseballs, I like to put my thumb right on the major, the middle knuckle of the thumb. I put it right on the major, and then I let my fingers just kind of take over from there. So it's not your conventional slider grip here. It's kind of tilted a little bit. And then same thing. I just try and get it to spin just like that on this axis here.
Strike 3, y'all!